Misses and Misses and Misters, here's your daddy-o with the sounds to go. No shucking, no jive, and I'm telling you, your music's arriving. Ha ha, what I say.
I'm Largo. This is Lair, and we're back with the Infinite Playlist. And my super duper co-host is right here. Hey, Will.
Hey, Jim. How are you? Thanks for having me back on the playlist. It's good to be back.
Thanks for being had. Thanks for putting up with my glitchy internet. We got a banger of a show, as the kids say. Our favorite dude from Canada. And yes, he is our favorite. There are some other Canadians we like, but he's our favorite. This guy.
Hey, Ken.
Well, thank you for the introduction. Yeah, I look at that and I'm like, man, Jim's really figured out this whole Canva thing. Like a year and a half ago, he's just like, so let's figure out how to edit. And now I'm just kind of like, how do you do that effect and that trend? I have no idea how do you put all that together? And I'm like, I like to pride myself on editing, but I see that. I'm like, got a couple things to learn. So good.
It's all smoke and mirrors and Guatemalan gremlins.
Okay, I don't have any of those up here. The latter, smoke and mirrors, I can help you with, but Guatemalan gremlins, you may have to ship that over.
Well, we love hanging with you, man. Gremlins or no, because you're just a super cool dude. You've got some great hot takes on classic vintage goodies that we love, and I love some of the histories you do when you do a deep dive into some of the, like the Transformers or Joe or other things that we loved. But we want to know the real Ken, the Ken who puts on his headphones and puts on his favorite tunage and kicks back. That's the Ken we want to see today.
Okay, well, depending on your taste in music, because let's put it this way, right? It's easy for me to come on and talk toys. When I see this setup and the setup behind me and I see the people on camera, my brain goes to one of two places. It either goes to toys or I soapbox about wrestling and everyone kind of grumbles and groans. When it comes to music, this is a little bit of an untested territory. So do I go through my sister's playlist of the 90s boy bands and all that? Or do I go to the playlist shortly after I was like, what's this station? Let me crank this up. That's a really cool rhythm guitar. I wonder who this guy is. So, yeah, we're going to try the latter today. And if we completely crap out, we'll go back to and try the boy bands era of life. And then everyone will be like, man, I like that guy's toys, but his taste in music.
I'm really looking forward to talking not toys. So let's do it, man.
I'm down.
Yeah, I'm seeing a documentary in the future, Toy Kennections, the NSYNC era. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Let's see what
tearing up my heart when
your
I'm with you. What
music
can I say?
dossier.
All right. What do we got here? What do we got here? Let's look around. Which of these does not fit?
Will, I'm getting kind of glitchy, so I'll let you start us off here.
Yeah, sure. So this is the playlist, Ken. What do you? Let's not I guess stay right here because we don't want to get. But I did notice while listening to your playlist, kind of a through line. All of these songs are kind of I don't know, what would you say, inspirational montage. They would all work in like a getting ready for the final battle montage, yeah, they're beautiful songs. I mean, every single one of them.
When I sent the list to Largo, I said one of these does not fit, and I thought it was really, really obvious which one doesn't fit, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. You tell me which one doesn't fit, Will, and you try it, Jim.
If there was one that stood out, it's Bryan Adams' Summer of '69.
So that's the one you think doesn't fit.
Really?
What about Jim?
I would say Dreams. The Van Hagar / Van Halen Dreams is the one I would not have thought would fit.
Oh, did I put Dreams? I thought I put Jump, but that's okay because I was trying to cut. Now we're always going to go on there, and then Dreams and Jump. I think what happened was I was listening to Dreams and I typed it, but I was thinking Jump, and that doesn't matter. It's all Van Halen.
I'm sorry.
No,
you know what?
It doesn't matter.
It's Def Leppard Photograph. That's the one that's a little different.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought it was Corey Hart's Never Surrender was the one.
That really? Oh, okay.
That's the one I thought because that's the one that's more poppy. The other ones are more rockish, right?
Oh, true.
I guess I'm thinking at it as far as like thematic. All of these are more about positive. Get in there. Don't stop believing. Never surrender.
Yes.
Eye of the Tiger.
Yes.
So yeah, and that's there is a theme. Like Summer of '69's more like reminiscing about the best times of your life.
Yeah.
But,
and yeah. I checked. I did send you Dreams, even though I meant to send. The reason I was going to send Jump wasn't because I like it more than Dreams. It's because it was a Roth song, and I wanted one Roth and one Hagar. But we've got two Hagars in there. That's okay to me. I prefer him as the Van Halen frontman. Maybe I just lost some subscribers for saying that, or maybe I gained some. We're going to roll the dice on that one.
So. That is always going to be a. I was going to say that's always going to be a controversy. To me, in my headcanon, they're two separate bands because with Roth, it's a whole different sound, it's a whole different vibe. The Hagar years, it just sounds like a completely different band. Both are good, both are very different.
See, with Eddie's hot guitar licks and the synth, I can tell just the Van Halen sound. And there was a period of time in my life where I couldn't actually tell you if it was a Hagar song or a Roth song for the longest time. And when I say period in my life, I mean up until the last month when I started watching the actual videos. And I was like, man, Roth has a completely different presence from Hagar. Even though I listened to them my whole life and I'd seen the videos, I just didn't register it in my head because I had the best of album for a long time, right? And I just had the album. And when I saw the music videos, I didn't stop to think at the time, man, this Roth is really, really flamboyant because a lot of singers were flamboyant at that period of time. And then in the 90s, they were a bit more subdued, a bit more rebellious. And I thought, whatever frontman they have, that's just how he is now. But yeah. So anyway.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. I am getting a communique from the head rooster. And he was telling me that for the best listening experience for the viewers, what you want to do is tune into Largio, which is it's a new patented system in which you could experience the music without violating copyright. And how you do that is you go ahead and you open another tab on your browser. You click the playlist that Jim has painstakingly prepared for you with all of these songs. You turn the volume down just enough on that video so you could hear us speaking, but still hear the music in the background, and then you watch the show. And you do have to switch between tabs every once in a while, skip a song, rewind a song, because the links aren't going to line up. But it really does enhance the listening experience.
Yeah. So in the description below, we do have the playlist that Ken sent us, and we've linked it to videos that are available on YouTube. So you can just run that playlist, listen to all the songs in the order that he sent them to us, and experience it by itself, or like he says, with our peanut gallery commentary.
That is patented Largio. It's a special audio format. I've actually done it, and it works really well. It's actually, like I said, you got to do a little skipping around sometimes, and sometimes we move on before the song's over, or sometimes, the song's long over and we're still chatting about it. But, it takes a little bit of maintenance, but that's not too bad. So, Toto Africa. What a song.
Go. Yes.
And when did you first, experience the song? Because, it's one of those ones that kind of, I know the song. I know every word to the song, but I can't tell you the first time I heard it. It just kind of, it's everywhere.
For me, it was the 90s. And I would either hear it on the radio, or I would be watching whatever the equivalent of MTV was up here. I guess it was called Much Music up here. And I'd catch it in the middle, right? And then a number of years back, it started getting a bit of a revival. And I wasn't aware of the Weezer 2000. It was in 2018, and the Weezer revival had been around for a few months. But it just popped up in my feed. True story of Toto's Africa. So I clicked on it, and I found out just, other than David Paich, a lot of the band members were not fond of the song. And there was this whole story in the background about how, well, first off, Paich, it's like one of the few songs that he does the lead vocals for. But Steve Lukather, who's like the other mainstay of the band, he was like, man, like he looks at the lyrics and he goes, "We're from Hollywood. What do you mean? Yeah. I bless the rains down in Africa. Are you Jesus?" And then when they do the photo shoot for the single, for the cover, Steve Lukather's got this look on his face, and he says, in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm going to kill you, because he just does not like the song. And they're like, this doesn't fit our vibe at all. And there was even talk about like cutting the song from the Toto 4 album in '82. And then eventually, like, they released the album. They're not even sure how the singles are going to do. I think everyone knew Rosanna was going to be the big hit there. And I think for the first little while it was. But then they get a call and they're like, man, everyone's playing this song in nightclubs and discos all across the country. Like, you've hit a real banger here. And they're like, this is nothing like Hold the Line or the other songs that they had that were big at the time. And then, of course, the Weezer revival happened. And then I just kept on looping and playing the song and looking for live performances. And by this point, the lead singer, they do switch vocalists for this song, because the Bobby Kimball is the singer for the chorus, even though David Paich does the verses, right? But by this point, when Toto was touring, Joseph Williams was their vocalist, and he actually sings it better live, if you ask me, right? Mind you, Bobby Kimball's quite a bit older, so his vocal cords are not the same anymore. But yeah, that's kind of where my brain went as far as this song is concerned. I love the write-up that you did here. This is amazing.
Yeah.
For me, I was an MTV kid. I wanted my MTV. And this played like every day, several times a day for a while. And it was just one of those, you heard the first couple of, bars, and you're like, oh, I know that song. So even without, a lot of the songs on your playlist, just looking at the title, I instantly start hearing it playing in my head. You know what I mean?
I'm a very anthem heavy kind of person. And like you hear it in the Toy Kennections intro, it's very rock heavy. What are all these songs? Yeah. They're all rock. Right? I'm just missing a bit of synth, but synth tends to timestamp you to the 80s. That's the problem, or not really a problem. Maybe it's a blessing, but either way, kind of timestamp.
Ken, you cover toys from the 80s. Don't diss the synth,
and don't stop believing.
That's
But
great.
yeah,
And
this
that's a perfect segue into
to
Journey.
Journey
Don't
on.
Stop Believing.
Yeah.
Which yeah, I mean, Don't Stop Believing has become Journey's signature song. Yeah. It's
Yes.
I mean, once again, this is like just one of those songs. As soon as you hear it, going back to Africa, like I don't even know what the song's about, but it's just performed so well and such a pleasant. It just makes you feel good. I'm singing along to it. I don't know what's going on with the rains of Africa, but it just sounds like a fun place to be, and I want to be there, just like this song. Although this is more of a story, you hear, but it's just brilliantly executed. I mean, just.
Yeah, this one is definitely more working class guy who speaks to most of the folks who were listening to it saying, hey, man, there are days, it's rough, but you just hang in there, buddy. You hang in there.
Hold on to what we've got. It doesn't make a difference. Oh, sorry, wrong song. But same,
Wrong
but
song.
exact same,
Same
you
idea.
know, yeah. So this song, they use it in sports a lot. Like one time, one of my favorite, basically the only sports team I follow got eliminated from the playoffs, and they just played this the next day on the radio, and I was like, yeah, I like this song, and it just kind of became my anthem from about 2009 onwards, up until Africa took over in 2018. Then that became my personal anthem. And then one thing a lot of people don't know is that while Toy Connections was my first foray in using my own voice and recording my own stuff, I had like ganked clips from sports on the internet and like clipped everything together to like do like a tribute to my favorite team, and I used this as the anthem before. So I think I may still have an unlisted. Will, you're familiar with my backup channel that I sometimes send links to? I think I still have like either a private or an unlisted link where that was like one of the first videos I ever did back around 2011.
That's pretty cool.
So I did use Journey's
not
Don't
know
Stop
that.
Believing. So yeah, so this has a very special place in my heart, right?
Yeah,
I mean, Steve,
like you say, I knew it had been used for a lot of sporting events. I didn't realize this popped up in The Sopranos of all places, but it kind of makes sense.
It's the ending song in the finale episode of season 6.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
there's just so much about this that it's very much a song of its time. And it was awesome until it started getting commercialized and then literally showing up in commercials and stuff. And it's like, don't ruin my Journey song. I don't want you to sell your car or your washing detergent with this.
It's like a curse, something. It's so good, and that obviously everyone wants to hear it, and it's such a pleasant thing that it gets overused. But I got to tell you, listening to it, I've heard the song a million times, and listening to the playlist today, it's just so well done. It's just like, I don't know of anyone who could just hate the song. There are people that say it's played out maybe, or I'm sick of hearing it. They play it every hour on the radio station or whatever, but go away from it for a little while, come back and listen to it after listening to some of this stuff. These guys were talented musicians. That's all I got to say.
So after Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas Is You" got overplayed, there was a new definition for what the word overplayed and played out is. And as long as you don't get anywhere near that realm, you are not overplayed. That kind of became my new rule, because "All I Want for Christmas Is You" did not seem like something that I heard every single day in the 90s. It felt like it was something in the last 15 years or less that feels like it's been an everyday thing. It was always popular, but then it became that cringe song. Right, not because of anything she does, but because people overuse it. That's all.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So Journey, good songs, great album cover art. Also, I loved the album cover art.
Mm-hmm. And they're another one that switched up lead singers after a while. But anyway.
That's like a whole other story thow, where the guy
that was amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty hilarious. That was like like one of those just unbelievable. Yeah, they found a fan that sings it just as good or better than the original.
What are the
singer,
odds of finding somebody that has that same vocal pattern? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the movie Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg is basically based on I mean indirectly, because I think that happened before that movie happened before Arnell joined Journey. So
and so here we go with another anthem, the final countdown. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah. That bum, 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 bum. As soon as you hear that, it's like, yeah.
It's another sportsy type of thing, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the night that we were counting down the Dragonfly HasLab with Mega J and the Toy Habits crew, I think Britt may have been there, and I can't remember if somebody else was there as well. Toy Sorceress yanked it up on her phone, and we all kind of rocked out the final countdown. And they risked the demonetization for playing whatever 15 or 20 seconds of that song or whatever it was, and we didn't get. I don't think they got demonetized, but so that revived itself in my head, even if it's always been an anthem of sorts. And that was just a few months ago.
It is, without a doubt, like I said, a lot of these songs super, just
it's not a, when you listen to the lyrics, it's not an inspirational song. This is a song saying the world is going to end. We've screwed up, but you hit those sweet synths, man, and it's just like you can't help but get jazzed.
The lyrics are literally about leaving Earth. Right. And then they turn around and use it as a sports anthem. Right. In fact, one of the AEW pay-per-views, Bryan Danielson used it to walk out to the ring for the main event. Right. And and just you hear the synth because he doesn't use it that often. And then as he climbs to the top rope to go like this right at the chorus where the crowd just belts out, "It's the final countdown." Like they just belt it right out at the top of their lungs. Right. So it's inspirational, like you said.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Catchy, energetic. I mean, just really, get you pumped for leaving Earth. no, just
And why Venus? Why not Mars? I guess Venus just sounded better in the chorus. I don't know, or in the lyrics.
I guess it's more exotic. Sure.
It's the eye of the tiger. Oh my god! So. Earlier we were talking about this one. This is so funny because like Eye of the Tiger is just such an iconic song. Everyone knows it. They all, associate it with Rocky. And I was telling Jim how this song is like so burnt into my head that I believed it was the theme for like all the Rocky movies. I didn't realize it didn't come out to like Rocky 3. Like I had just misremembered it as being like the only theme for Rocky. And I don't know why, but yeah.
I can't hear this song nowadays without thinking of our buddy Bjorn because he's such a Tiger fan. I just put the two together now.
Eye of the Tiger. No, this was like the first song I listened to as like a kid, and like, like this song was playing in my head when I walked to school, and I thought I was cool, like for the first time, like in my life, where I was like, dun, 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 dun.
Wonder if our friend Gaz, tucks a Hobbs stuffy under his arm, like one of my Snoopies here, and then plays Eye of the Tiger or something like that. I don't know. It's just Hobbs seems like a bit of a softie to be Eye of the Tiger. But,
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you need a song to get you pumped, you need a song to,
It's also really easy opening power chord guitar riff in the days before like Nirvana grungy stuff made power chords simple. Right. So you could play it. You could play this song when two people are heads up at a poker game. I once grabbed my guitar back when I knew how to play and did that. Because I was eliminated from the poker games. When it came down to heads up, I just going bam, 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 bam. I just started doing that, and they're just like, I'm either really inspired or really distracted right now. Ken. If I lose this pot, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna keep playing that.
I would argue that you could also take the most mundane of tasks and turn them really exciting by playing this theme music, shoveling, raking leaves, shoveling snow, whatever it may be.
I was thinking hitting the bench press, but
yeah.
And in a time when heavy keyboards and synth was like, the top of the charts, these guitar riffs just blew all that away and said, no, hold my beer. This is how you do a song.
Oh, yep. And my son said he really likes this song too. Like he's been listening to this and Tears for Fears, Everybody Wants to Rule the World. I have no idea why those songs. I think they just came up in something else he was watching, and he just found these songs.
Yeah, you hear a song and it just speaks to your soul, and and you love it. For me, it's "Rock Me Amadeus." That is the song that, like, if I hear it, I'm just like, I have to listen to it, the whole song.
That's a fun one, right? You know what I just realized as I was talking about my son right now, because he's 8. When I was 3 or 4, I'm now remembering that the first time I ever had a favorite song was "We Built This City" by Starship. And that's not on this top 10 because I've just found songs that I like better than it over the years. But maybe that's where the whole inspirational thing got ingrained in my head. Because I left the Philippines in June of 86 when I was 4, right? And I remember rocking out to that song before I left. So I was either 3 or I was 4. And that song came out when I was 3. So I kind of feel like maybe that's where this
that was
theme,
like your first.
right? So like, the transition, sorry, the overarching, because it's all
That
feel
anthem.
good and inspirational, right? That anthem ish, you know what I mean? Like, these aren't funny songs and these aren't romance songs. I mean, some of them could indirectly be romance songs, like some of the ones we're going to get into, but they're feel good first and romance second, right? So
I gotta be that ugly American that stereotypes. Most Filipinos that I have met, and I've met a few while I was in the military, they love karaoke. Is there a reason why a lot of your songs have a karaoke flavor? You will see these in the karaoke bar. Is it in the DNA?
It kind of is now that you mention it, right? Because I know, like, because my wife's side is Cantonese, right? Technically, I'm not. I have very little Filipino blood. I was just born there, so I kind of understand the culture.
Right.
But Filipinos, when they do karaoke, they do a lot of American karaoke songs. On my wife's side, they do a lot of like Cantonese pop songs, right? So I think it's maybe just that part of the world just really likes it, and then depending how westernized the world, the country is, will influence your music to some degree, right?
That's fair. Yeah,
they do like, Filipinos sure love their karaoke, let's put it that way, and they sure love their. I mean, there's some good Filipino cover bands just locally to my scene right here.
Oh my god, yeah.
Right.
It is crazy how you look at some of these guys and you listen to them off stage, and they have, the typical Filipino, accent to their English.
Cadence and
but when they hit the stage and they start singing, you would swear it's like, dude, they sound just like the guys they're covering.
Are not
they have them.
Songs
they're amazing.
From 2001 to 2010, when I was in a more of a jam type of mode with my guitar, I just realized, as you mentioned it, I probably jammed with more Filipino people than any other nationality. Now that you're mentioning it, right? Yeah. Right.
Very interesting.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah.
Not just entertaining, but insightful. That's what we're all about. We're here to spread the love, Filipino love.
Eye of the tiger.
That's right.
Now, Def Leppard.
Yes.
Photograph.
Here we go. Yes.
This one I always thought was kind of a little dirty,
Naughty. Okay.
I liked it.
Interesting.
Little candid photography. Snap, snap, wink, wink.
I don't. Maybe that's why this one never had an official. From what I know, this didn't have an official music video associated with it. Probably for that reason. So this revived itself probably around 2014 for me. Around like when did GTA 5 come out? Around 2013, I feel like. And I was wherever my character was driving around in the car, and this came on. And I'm just like, I'm just gonna play this for a while. And then I went and looked it up, and I just kept listening to it over and over again. Right? Yeah, this one's a bit like the riff is inspirational.
Yes.
Right? But this is a bit, I mean, I can't even say this is a love song. This is almost like a love affair kind of song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
I like this better than some of Def Leppard's other songs. Like, I know Pour Some Sugar on Me is really good, but I just prefer this one for some reason. So
that's pretty
I was always a fan of Pyromania just because it's more of a heavy driving kind of thing. But this is a fun song. I mean, I like all their stuff.
What I was going to say was... Ken, I think that's the most interesting origin story for how you heard of a song that came out in 1983. That you're playing a video game from 2014 because, I will say that I've heard this song, but I've never really like knew the lyrics or the thing. I probably was listening to the lyrics like this whole time. I've heard it on the radio and stuff, but it's kind of interesting that you went to 2014 to go back to 83.
I mean, everyone knows the song growing up, but do you really like? It's different when you catch it in the middle of the radio, like it's mid-chorus. There's a minute left in the song when you turn on the radio. You're like, damn, what was the rest of that song, right? And then when I got GTA, I was like, yeah, I should go back and listen to this properly and look up the lyrics and see what it's about. So, yeah,
so that's pretty good. And then Bryan Adams, Summer of '69. It's known for its nostalgic lyrics about youth and love. It's one of his signature songs. The catchy guitar riffs are instantly recognizable, and it remains a popular anthem at concerts worldwide. It's been covered by various artists over the years, but just that these were the best days of our lives just resonates with just about anyone who's of a certain age, I guess, because in your teens you're not thinking you think everyone's sappy and silly when they reminisce about stuff, but song hits differently when you're in your 40s, right?
Yes. So a lot of people don't know, but I think Bryan Adams was like 9 years old in 1969 or whatever. Like he was definitely not a teenager. So it's something like, I think it's just catchy. Maybe the 69 has another meaning to it, but I think, I think it's just because it rolls off the tongue when you sing the lyrics like that.
I just hear summer of '89 because that's when was that June when Batman came out. That was my year. That was the summer where we're like, I was 14. We rebelled. We went to the midnight screening. We didn't tell anyone we were going. It was awesome. It was an adventure. That's the summer Michael Keaton. That'll last forever for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bryan Adams did some sweet power ballads. He did this one. He did the one that was the Three Musketeers song from that movie.
All for Love.
All for Love. Yeah, All for Love.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other? It was a big movie that his song was featured in. Oh, Robin Hood, the Kevin Costner one. His song was in that. Everything I Do.
Yeah, I Do It For You. Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
So he's awesome.
Funny Bryan Adams song. So when my parents were getting divorced, I found a Bryan Adams cassette, my dad's tape player, and I made fun of him for it. And I feel bad about it to this day because he was going through some stuff. And
yeah, this revived itself for me around 2004. Like that's when it kind of came back for me because I heard the song. A few friends of mine performed it at a talent show at a local church. And they did it in a medley. I think because it's the way the chord progression is, they did a medley with this and U2's With or Without You.
Oh.
And then they started With or Without You, and then they jumped into I Got My First Real Six String, right? And then they weren't proud of their performance, but it kind of revived it for me. I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to this song, and it kind of became my 2004 anthem for life kind of thing. Even though that
I was going to ask
January,
yeah. A lot of my friends who were learning guitar, this was one of their favorite songs to practice with. Was this a good practice song for you? Did you learn this one?
It absolutely is, because there's just enough transitions, and they're just quick enough to kind of test your fingers without just having to do the same power chord 8 times and switch for another eight strokes, and then again. It's not one of those, right? And if you do want to sing the song, it kind of tests you in that regard too, and it's one of those stepping stone songs to get to something more advanced, But having said that, you're still a long way from Eddie Van Halen, who we're going to talk about shortly.
Fair enough. I mean, I did some vocals in some high school stuff, but I could never understand how you could sing and pay attention to what you're doing as a singer and play guitar at the same time. It's like my brain cannot multifunction that well. So
at that point, it's muscle memory on the guitar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
It took me a couple months to figure out how to rub my tummy and tap my head at the same time. And, that's about as complicated as I get. So.
Oh my God. That's easier said than done. So
right now, I want some Crystal Pepsi right now.
Oh. Again, beautiful song ruined by commercialism. I love this song. And then it got used way too much by people selling stuff. But it's a great song, great message.
I first heard it in the Pepsi commercial and then went backwards. So
Nice.
it came out when
Okay.
I was like 9 or 10. So I heard it when I was
Yeah.
12, and then I went backwards. So.
And the video with all the little factoids in it,
And that was like
Yeah.
video of the year. I think, best hard rock performance and best,
Very cool.
man. Good research here, Jim.
Yeah,
Thanks.
and was this okay, so let me just read about, was this kind of like a comeback song, or like didn't this like really kind of launch them back into the mainstream, or am I wrong on that? Or is it just
Well-
my perspective? Like I forgot about them and then this came out.
So Hagar
And-
joined in 86, right? Was it 86 that Hagar
Mhm.
joined? Or that's when 5150 came out? And I feel like that in 88, was that the 02 812, whatever the name of that album is? Someone's gonna get, I totally kiboshed that. And then I think this song might have come out in 91 or 92. So
Oh,
if
you
they
wait,
did
1-2?
OU812, yeah, I think was that 88? I'm not sure, right? And then
Oh,
and
I
then
think so.
yeah, I mean this is testing because I'm probably in grade 4 when the song comes out, right? So this came out I think early 90s, right? 91 or 92, and it's just I don't know. I don't know if it was a comeback song or not, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I
There
may
was-
just be remembering it that way because I remember like my aunt was really into them. I remember she had the poster on her wall and everything like that, and I knew of them, but then like I guess kind of forgot, and then this song came out, and I was like, oh, they're back,
Well,
so
there was a
it's just weird.
transitionary time. There's people like me that my first, Van Halen experience was Diver Down, that whole album, and Van Halen 2, Women and Children First, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Totally different vibe. So,
Yes.
yeah, I remember in all the music magazines, and everybody's like, well, what are they going to do? Who's this? How's this new singer going to work? What's this? Da, 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 da. Everybody was talking about it. And Sammy Hagar was already a well-established artist. He kicks ass.
Well,
And
had
it
you
just
done I Can't?
fit.
Like when did I Can't Drive 55 come out?
Yeah.
Like, was that before
right?
he joined Van Halen? Or
That was before he joined.
okay.
And
Okay.
so he was already known. And
Yeah.
his vocals with Eddie and the gang just worked, but it worked in a different way. And their writing style was different. I like I said, I like both versions of Van Halen. Some people, it's like, one or the other. It's like, no, man, they're both good.
Or to a real fan or like a true fan, they'd probably be like, they never left. Shut up, Will. They've been around.
Exactly.
They never went anywhere. But for me, it was like they went away and then they were back, and I was like, oh, right now.
I grew up in the Hagar era, so I barely remembered Roth until I looked him up again as an adult. Right? I mean, obviously you'll know the synth, the Panama, and Jump, right?
Yeah.
Just hearing it as a kid. But for me, I grew up with with songs like this. So, yeah.
And what's funny is, again, going back to the earlier Van Halen, they were not a synthesizer band. They were rock and roll, man. They were guitars and drums. And it wasn't until 1984 that they started bringing in that synth sound, and it just worked. But whereas with the Hagar era, I always think of Hagar the Horrible, the cartoon character, when I say that. When Sammy Hagar was with them, they embraced any kind of instrument. They were looking for, creating a sound and anthems. They were so good at doing anthems.
Oh yeah.
For sure. This is another like sports anthem for me.
Yes.
Right. Because I heard it a lot in 1994. It was the first time in my lifetime that my favorite sports team for hockey went to the finals and lost to, a much better team, but we were the Cinderella story. And this was a song that was played a lot in that spring of 1994. So that's what it takes me back to. Right. So
and then
nice transition here. Dreams. Yeah. 5150. Yeah. From 86. Huh. Again, this is the one that I thought I typed Jump, but I put Dreams. That's okay. I guess because this one has a better story to it.
Might as well dream.
Yeah, this has a much better story. Jump is actually a dark
dream.
song, if you understand where it comes from.
Really?
Yeah, it's about encouraging someone to, self-delete.
Oh.
Go ahead and jump.
Oh, I thought it was.
That's a story for another day. Yes.
I thought it was go ahead and take risks, not go ahead and self-delete. Huh. Okay.
No. But hey, interpretation. but
Okay.
it's definitely worth a look. So, but
Yeah.
we'll talk about that another time. Dreams is another great anthem, well known. Yeah.
Mhm. So with Jump, the reason is like some of you might remember, I used it in my Gridiron Jump video, right?
Yeah.
I played like 3 seconds of it only. That was all I could do.
I
without
know,
getting
but I was like
copyrighted.
waiting for it because I was like, okay, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. And then you did
Yes,
it, and I was like,
and then I
yeah.
did it, and then I did it at the end.
Yeah,
Right. And I'm so careful when I do that. I play like 3 to 5 seconds and I actually don't play it at the full speed, and then I make sure I crop it with that fake TV border around it so that it gets around the copyright box. But with Dreams, my introduction to it was a lot of people may not know this, but they played it as the end song in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 1995 movie that went to theaters. So I didn't hear it in 86. I heard it in 95 when the movie came out. And it was a good song to end that movie because, the Rangers had lost their mentor. He came back right at the end of the film. But it was the first time we'd seen the Power Rangers without their mentor Zordon. And Dreams was just a perfect way to close off that particular movie. So that's when it became kind of another inspirational anthem for me. Right.
That's pretty cool.
And again, I like the song just as much as I like Jump. I was just trying to go Hagar and Roth, and then I went to Hagars just subliminally without even, without thinking
So
about it. Okay.
a non-related segue. Did they ever explain how they went from the spandex super suits to the kind of ninja uniforms? How that fit in with all that?
It depends which ninja uniforms. If you're talking the Ninjetti style ones from 1995,
yes,
they got that from. They went to the planet Phaedos. I just watched this movie with my son, so they went to the planet Phaedos, and then the mentor there, who was a friend of Zordon's, gave them those suits, but those weren't their fully morphed suits. They would just use those to fight off the enemy warriors, the Tengu warriors that were sent to fight them. And
I'm not a big Super Sentai fan, but I remember catching that movie on a replay on a show or a channel one time. It's like, where's their super suits? I don't get it. As I didn't understand, so I knew you knew.
But they can't call their Zords from those suits, right? That's not their fully. That's like a transition form that they introduced in 1995. I don't think they've done something like that since then. But yeah, that was it, right? And speaking of Sammy Hagar, Hagar or Hagar, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters, right? Anyway, what I always liked about him is that he can go back and sing Roth's songs. He can go live and sing Jump, Panama, did he sing Running with the Devil? I'm not sure. And Ain't Talking About Love. I don't know if he sang that one. I know he invited Michael Anthony on stage, and Michael Anthony sang the lead for that after Eddie died. But I know he can go back and sing some of Roth's hits. But Roth, you don't see Roth sing Dreams or Right Now or anything from 5150, right?
Right. He doesn't have that kind of range. And with Michael Anthony and Sammy Hagar, they're buddies. They still get together and jam. They've done other stuff outside of Van Halen just for fun. So it's cool to see those guys get together.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Nice. Yeah. Haha.
Queen. What can I say? I want it all.
This is the collector's anthem. I want it all.
I've used it.
Space.
I've used it before.
Have you? Yeah. This is.
I played it on TKO before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Personal anthem.
I love everything Queen. I love all their stuff. I can't pick a favorite. They're all good.
So I'll say this, right, with Queen. I mean, this one might be a little bit soapboxy, but like this got revived around season 1 of Cobra Kai because they play it in the season finale, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's from a few years ago, and then I know the movie came out in 2018, but I watched the Bohemian Rhapsody film last year.
Yeah.
Right. So 2022,
that was
I'm
good.
watching. Yes, and because that movie ends with Live Aid 85, you don't get this song, right? And because Freddie, that's right. See, so because Freddie was so ill by the time this came out, and maybe it was fitting that half that music video is filmed in black and white anyway. He never gets to sing this live on tour. All of the live versions are with either Adam Lambert. I know there was another singer before him.
They had I want to say Brian. No, it wasn't Mike. I I want to say Brian. That's not right. I can't remember. I know who you're talking about, but yeah, they had a couple of guest singers that came in.
Well, Brian May has a couple lines in this song anyway, right?
Yeah.
And what it is that because we kind of got deprived of Freddie before he could go on tour and sing this, right? I love this song for so many reasons, right? There's that. It's the toy collector's anthem that I've kind of adopted this year. And I think it fits better on playlists. Like you look at the rest of my playlist, right? I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody, how well does that really fit on the rest of the playlist that you're looking at, right? Even We Will Rock You kind of fits, but it largely doesn't, because it's more about like, okay, show up, and it's not so much inspirational as I'm gonna kick you in the rear end as hard as I can right now, right? Yeah. And same thing with We Are the Champions. You know, another one, Bite the Dust, has a different vibe and different cadence to it.
Absolutely.
Right? But another one, Bites the Dust, could fit on my list. But I Want It All goes really well with Eye of the Tiger and you know the Van Halen songs and all that. Like if you actually played this list in order, you know, they all kind of go well together. Yeah, Summer of '69 might be a little bit off-ish, and Dreams may be a little off theme. Dreams is pretty inspirational. Yeah. But you know what I mean. Yeah. Anyway, getting off track here, but yeah, there it is. And you know, I mean, they did this song in '89. And I think it was it the Grammys in 90 or the Grammys in 91? Or was it the British Awards where you see Freddie on stage and he's pale as a ghost. Yeah. And to accept the award, it was like best rock band of the decade or something like that. Brian May does almost the entire speech, right? Freddie's so flamboyant, he doesn't say anything. He leans into the mic, he goes, "Thank you very much, good night." That's it. And he walks off. Otherwise, he left all the speaking to Brian May, right?
Well, he was apparently in tremendous pain and trying to hide it as best he could there.
Yes. And, he didn't tell the world about AIDS until the day before he passed. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, for me, Queen, my first introduction was Highlander. I'd probably heard him on the, you hear him on the radio, but it's like I wasn't really into Queen until I watched the Highlander movie. And of course they're pretty much the soundtrack. Then I went back and started, looking at all their stuff. And then from there forward, I listened to everything Queen. I was like, man, these guys are awesome.
First song I ever heard by Queen was Bicycle, and I loved it.
Yep. Fat Bottom Girls, baby. They make the world
My friend played it for me, and I was just like, who are these people? I love them. Just because, it was so much fun. But, and then I realized that of all their songs, I probably listened to the silliest one, and all their other stuff is just amazing. So, yeah, fantastic. All I could say is just, I'm in awe every time I hear, them perform a song. It's just awe-inspiring. I can't believe that
Freddie's range is. He's in the soprano range, right? Like most of the singers that we talked to here, we've talked about here, they're mostly in the tenor range, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know which one of these vocalists can match Freddie's range. I mean, can Sammy do it? I don't know. Can Steve Perry? I'm not sure. Right?
Not consistently. I mean,
I was thinking that.
Yeah. I would say Adam Lambert is probably, and even Adam Lambert has to change some of the arrangements for some of the songs. I mean, he's good,
but that's why that's why he's part of Queen now, right?
Yeah,
right, exactly.
But I think a lot of people also mimic or they do what he did. You know what I mean? Like when they're performing his songs, like they're just pretending to be him. They're not like he made this. He invented it, I'm not saying he invented singing, but I'm just saying the uniqueness of their songs and
he made certain things cool. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, Freddie Mercury made it cool. And then everyone doing it isn't doing it. They're all imitating him. They're not just reinventing his song in a new style and blowing us away, because the second you do that, people aren't interested. He set the bar real high. And
so high, unrealistically high, but yeah, cool. All right.
And then You Never Surrender. Very hard.
I'm really glad that when I said one of these doesn't fit, that neither of you picked this one. Because to me, when I sent the list, I thought this was, because is this rock? Is this classic rock? This is very poppy.
Yeah, that's why we got it all wrong in the beginning, was because, like I said, when I listened to it, I'm like, there's a through line here, and that is the anthem. Keep going. You got to keep chugging along. to it.
Yeah.
This is like, this is
But this
every
is
song.
not
I was like, I could keep going. I could do
but
this.
this is not the rock out riff song. This to
It's
me is the cheesy one out of the bunch. Is it not? Or
sure,
is it not?
sure, but the theme of the song, I guess, is still inspirational
Okay.
in that sense. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
that's why, like, when you asked which one was different, I was like, well, that's why I went Summer '69, because I'm like, that's more like I said, it's the break in the middle. You're listening to
Yeah.
the playlist, and
Yeah.
that's like the reflecting back on the good old days, And I
Yes.
thought it was a little different. But
It
this
still
one,
feel
I
good,
feel
but
like
it's
it
not as
fits.
inspirational. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. And which one did Jim say he thought didn't fit? Did he say Dreams or did he say something else? I forget now. Anyway.
I think I went to Dreams after that because I just started doubting myself.
Or
then I
did
was
he
just
say
picking stuff.
or did he say Photograph? He might have said
I
Photograph.
think he might have said
Yeah.
Photograph, or he said Dreams, and I just thought,
Yeah.
I was like
Good.
trying to remember. Yeah.
Mhm.
So like,
So this is another song that, like, I heard it as a kid, and I liked the theme of it, and it had a bit of a revival during the pandemic when he did like a 2020, maybe it was a 2021 Never Surrender version, and I always thought that, how I mentioned earlier that I did a Don't Stop Believing thing with my favorite sports team. If the copyright thing wasn't as big a deal on YouTube, I would totally take Corey Hart's Never Surrender. I would take a bunch of clips from Band of Brothers, and that would be a video that I would make.
You're giving me like early. I don't know if you remember, like, I don't know if it wasn't even, it was before YouTube, where people would take like video games and put them to music and post them on like forums or websites.
But that's what I would do, is I would absolutely take, I think Band of Brothers,
and you would watch these
Never
like
Surrender,
montages.
right? Montages. Yes.
Put the songs, and they would
That's
get
what I would
around.
do. Absolutely montage that show to this. I think it would work just fine. Hey, Patreon special one day. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll be sitting there and I'll just steal some clips. I do want to do a Band of Brothers retrospective, like a history retrospective.
Yeah,
right?
that would be
at some point.
Would be really good.
Right.
I would love to see that. And like I said, like every retrospective you do is as much as like you pick a topic that it's like let's just say G.I. Joe is my main thing, which it is, but every year I learned something, even though I thought I lived it. I thought I knew everything. But there were so many things I didn't know. So I'm sure you'll have insights and bring something about that show out that, I never noticed or, flew over my head.
Well, I mean, you and I sat through it for History of Transformers 86, right?
Yeah.
Right. You were there in real time for that one. So, right. And then, Jim's back. Hey, bud.
Sorry, guys.
Jim, the song is Never Surrender, not Run Away and Hide. Okay? You were supposed to stay
I'm sorry, man. I get emotional.
You don't back down to Eduardo. You got to stand up to him. Never surrender.
But he's mean.
Show him the eye of the tiger.
Oh, man. Yeah. No, we were just saying that I thought this was the one that didn't fit because it's more of a pop song. It's not as guitar riffy or synthish. You know what I mean? It's more of that 80s, obviously not a love song, but it fits a different genre, I thought. But you know what? With the through line, Will is right. It fits right in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like you could probably say like most of the people attending his concert are going to be probably, he probably had a good appeal with the ladies back when he was, first came out, so I get it.
Yes.
And, as a teenager, I probably wouldn't be like, Corey Hart's my favorite, even like when I was a teenager and I made fun of my dad for listening to Bryan Adams, even though there's nothing wrong with it at all. But I was like, what's this?
Bryan Adams, there's a little bit of cheesiness. There's a little bit of Corey Hart thing, but he's rock anthemish enough.
Yeah,
it depends on the song. He goes the sappy pop route, and then he goes and he rocks out. He kind of threads that line.
It was just him looking like a male calendar model on the cover of the album.
There it is.
That made me go to my dad. What's this?
What is this?
And
crap?
Also just giving the old man some a hard time. But,
surprisingly, I never chose a Metallica song for this list because in the early 2000s between S&M and Saint Anger, I kind of stopped listening to them because that was not a great album. They were like the band that I really enjoyed at that time. So but I didn't choose one. So
it's one of the things that, like I said, this show just makes me giddy, or just it's always it's just fun to find out what makes people tick. Because Jim, do you think it would be funny if we no, because I think maybe offend someone. I was gonna say we predict what people are gonna put, and then they put their list up, and then at the end of the show, we we write a list of what we think they're going to say are their favorite 10, but it changes too. So this is for this theme, and this playlist, works. But Ken probably has 100 songs that, depending on the mood.
Given what you knew about my personality.
And what's cool is, guys, you guys will pick songs, and I'm seeing this as a trend. It's like, I only get 10, I need 100. And everybody's like, they're looking for their most epic song ever thing. And it's like, dude, what are you listening to this week when you're sitting there painting models or arranging your shelves or whatever you're doing? What are you listening to? Because it changes. It depends on the mood. If I'm in an angry mood, I'm listening to punk. If I'm in a happy mood, I might be listening to something, like Creedence Clearwater Revival. So, and I know everybody has, different tastes.
Were you surprised that, because you kind of get to know me through the hobby, and this is kind of like our first true segue. Honest to God, did this list surprise you? Did you kind of peg me as more of a this genre or that genre? Were you expecting Michael Jackson? Were you expecting Nirvana? Were you expecting, I don't know, Nickelback? The only thing I expected more of was wrestling entry anthems. But I mean, this is kind of in that same theme. So I specifically didn't choose any because of that. Even though Final Countdown has been used sparingly by Bryan Danielson, his usual song isn't that. But yes, there was some temptation to choose Cult of Personality because CM Punk comes out to that, or just something to that effect. Right. There was some temptation, but I said, no, you know what? Cult of Personality, because as popular as that song was, it was largely because of CM Punk. I went back to listen to that. So I said, don't choose something that can immediately tie you to wrestling. If it indirectly gets you there, sure. Right. But that's not something that gets me directly there. So I said, if we're trying to trend away from the usual topics and the usual things that come out of my mouth, let's just go straight there and say, what was Ken before Toy Kennections? What was he before?
I was kind of secretly thinking it was going to be real heavy stuff. I thought you were going to blow my mind and just be into make stuff that would make Grindhead Jim blush, he's into that grindcore, and I thought you were
Slayer, Pantera, Megadeth.
Yeah, I just thought you were going to come in with something,
if you ever get Steve on here, he loves Megadeth.
Nice.
He just adores Megadeth.
Nice. Yeah.
Right. And he always tells me that Dave Mustaine is not as bad of a singer as I say.
I love Megadeth's good, man. And I love I think I was going to say Suicidal.
If you had shown up with
the 17 videos, and Steve recognized it and he liked it, or was that you, Ken? I'm not sure who was posting on that one. But Delta 17 commented that they liked it, the song.
Okay. Yes.
So it's probably Steve.
I might have. I have access to that.
You're an upbeat, positive guy. This list definitely fit with my impression of you. If you had shown up with Rammstein or some Viking metal, I would have been surprised. This I think suits you.
All right, fair enough. Right. So cool, gentlemen. I had a blast. It's a great segue away from the usual stuff.
And that is the infinite playlist for Ken.
We gon' break up, then we make up. Act like we're gonna be friends. Blaze the fire, take me higher. Leave it all over again, all over again. Leave it all over again, all over again. Leave it all over again. We gon' break up, then we make up. Act like we're gonna be friends. There's the fire,